Monday, folks. You get a special treat today. 3 of us. Gabby's back from Madrid.
Yes!
So we're throwing her into Sports Burst. We're taking your questions and comments for Gabby, for Ray. If you want to throw something my way, that's great. Ray, nice to have you along,
you too, Jeremy.
Yeah. Kind of an afterthought, but not really.
Yeah, no, he's the real star of the show. Are you kidding?
He is the real star of the show. We're going to talk about the post-Clasico reaction and what the results mean for both Barcelona and Real Madrid. We'll also talk a little Premier League, and boy, oh boy, do we have a big week coming up here on B Sports. Yeah, okay, the 3 Clásicos in 25 days is over, but the Copa Libertadores is just starting. It's all coming up on Sports Burst. Okay, so Ray's talking off the camera here, getting some wardrobe issues.
Television, that's why I thought
some wardrobe issues here. We're taking your comments. We have to talk about the Clásico because 2 big losses for Real Madrid last week, and what it means for Santiago Solari, what it means for this Real Madrid team. But first, let's start with the return of Gabby Amato. Gabby, you did some fantastic work as always last week in Madrid. Tell us about the experience. What was the city like after the Copa del Rey match?
So there was definitely a feeling of, I think, complete disappointment going into that match. I think Madridistas really thought they were going to walk away with a win. They enjoyed the way that the team had played at the Camp Nou. They thought that they had kind of silenced the Barcelona team. They walked away with an away goal, a 1-1 draw. They really did not expect to go to the Bernabeu and be smashed 3-0. And walking away from that match, they felt that they played better. They deserved so much more. That's what everyone was saying.
There wasn't that much between the 2 teams in the game.
Absolutely not. And so people started to leave. I mean, I said this all week long. People started to leave after the second goal, after the Varane own goal. People were heading out. After the penalty was called, I think half of the stadium was empty. And there was just a sense of complete and total disappointment and fear heading into the La Liga Clásico.
What was the sense in the days leading up to the game? Not just the fact that they could bounce back, it had to be different and all the rest of it, but you know, this is a club that was at this point last season was 15 points behind, and they're 15 points behind now, but there were only like 12 points at this same point last year, which, you know, that really surprises me. And you know, you think, what's the whole feeling now of the city?
It's just that everything's lost. I mean, they've lost hope in Santiago Solari. A lot of people saying that
he was parachuted into a train wreck.
Correct.
I mean, you know, he really was. I mean, he had a hell of a job on his hands. He's never going to be the long-term coach.
No, and I think he knows that. And Victor Sanchez del Amo said that in our Clásico pregame and postgame too, all week long, that he knew he wasn't going to be the long-term guy. But I think they were just disappointed in the fact that when Solari took over, they were only 7 points off of Barcelona.
Right.
And now they find themselves 12 points off. So it's kind of a situation that went from bad to worse. Copa del Rey is obviously lost. They feel La Liga is gone, and their only hope for a title is now the Champions League to win 4 in a row.
You say that's what I was on about before. There were 15 points behind at this same point last year. Now it's 12.
Yes.
I mean, that isn't like a big that's a big gap. But what the hell is going on with this club? Now they've got Vinicius and Reguilon, who are their stars. They are the stars of this team now. And whoever gets pulled in, and what was the buzz, you know, that you heard about Mourinho coming back?
A lot of it. People saying that he'll either come back with Xabi Alonso as his second, or maybe even Raúl, who we have to keep a very close eye on Raúl, because we all know that they sacked Álvaro Benito from the Juvenil B coach because of his words. And then who stepped into that role? Raúl. So the kind of feeling in Madrid is that they're prepping Raúl for a big-time coaching position and saying maybe he'll come in with Mourinho, which would just be insanity.
Wow.
What do you make of the Ray, this is more to you. What do you make of the fact that Solari's saying that Real Madrid, this particular managerial position, is kind of like Julia Roberts? Real Madrid are like Julia Roberts. Everybody wants to date. You know, everybody wants to join this. Everybody wants to be a part of this. What do you make of that? Do you think that this Real Madrid job is as sexy as it has been in the past?
Hey, listen, it's Real Madrid, and historically, you know, with Boca Juniors, and Milan, of course, in their great years, this is one of the world's great clubs. You look at Liverpool, Man United, Juventus. Nobody, any progressive coach would turn away from this job, no matter what it's going through. But this is a club that needs to be certainly rebuilt, and it's been papered over the cracks a lot of time by the wonderful success that they've had in the Champions League. Are they going to get the latitude with this president? I mean, that's the one constant. And what was the reaction that you heard about Florentino Perez?
Express enough how upset Madridistas are with Florentino Perez. They completely blame him for the situation that United is in. They say that this all started right when Cristiano Ronaldo left and right when Zidane left, that Florentino Perez and his team did not plan the season correctly. None of them are surprised by what happened because they're like, what do you expect? We lose 50 goals and you brought in Mariano. I mean, what was the planning for this season?
And a goalkeeper to replace a goalkeeper, which everybody knows, this is my pet peeve, that was nothing wrong with Keylor Navas.
Correct.
Let's get some comments. Yes. People are certainly sending lots of comments today. So
let's see what this. Steve Biambi saying Madrid will not win anything this year, not even the Champions League.
They are on pace for their worst season since the 05-06 season. They're getting 1.85 points per game at present, which puts them at about 70 points. Interesting look at the point totals since the turn of the century. In the first 5 years of this century, Real Madrid finished at 70 points or lower. 3 of those first 5 seasons. Ever since then, they've been on an upward trajectory, but now on pace for 70 points this season, which would be their worst season in 14 years.
Right, and that all this part of it with the statistics and the cold analysis of it, it does a great job, Jeremy, and it need to be brought up. But there seems to be something lacking in this club. I mean, we haven't even touched on Gareth Bale.
No,
and I mean,
come on.
This is a situation that needs to be addressed, and evidently he's got the full faith and backing. His agent came out this morning and was incendiary against the fans, against the Madridistas, saying that it was an absolute disgrace. It is an absolute disgrace how they've been booing and whistling Gareth and on. And I'm like, really? Do you think? I mean, this is a player who has not produced on a consistent basis. Yeah, he's got the highlight reels and everything like that. But Vinicius is outshining him to such completely eclipsing him. And it's that face, he's sour, he's mourning, he's down in the dumps all the time. And now his agents come out and said, well, back off my boy, it's you guys need to. This is a team where that they booed Zidane, they booed Cristiano Ronaldo, they booed Saint Iker Casillas, on and on. That's what you get because the standards are set so high. Now, because of this agent's words, Gareth is even on a thinner line because he's even got to produce even more. And I thought going into the Clasico, this might be the statement game that he comes in and he puts his teeth into it and completely dominates, or at least inspires Real Madrid. He was nowhere, and they subbed him off.
And interesting note with Gareth Bale as well, on tonight's edition of The Extra, Jamie's pitch cam feature this week followed Gareth Bale. So that's going to be an interesting.
Real interesting.
That's going to be an
what about
piece
the
right
elbow from the captain Sergio Ramos to Messi?
Cheeky! They were so angry at each other, you guys. Even when it was halftime, Messi continued to yell at the referee, continued to show him his lip. The Santiago Bernabeu was alight with boos towards Messi for arguing at the referee. It was an unbelievable scene, even once the halftime whistle.
Should have given another one.
Our producer wanted another one, right?
It's not hockey, Mike. Come on.
Hey, listen, you can criticize Ramos for all you want. He's the captain. He was trying to set a tone, and he was looking at the rest of it. And the likes of Gareth Bale to respond with that sort of attitude.
Right.
I mean, again, Messi was very much in the shadows of this game. Barcelona weren't at their radiant best, and yet the goal was just a typical example of how poor and Ramos, of course, had a part to play in that. He was partially at fault.
I have no problem with the captain of a team kind of, getting stuck in a little bit.
Yeah, you got to.
To try and get on the other side of Messi, to get in his head, but also to try and get your own teammates pumped up a little bit and like get behind that. And that's something you see in a lot of different sports. And I mean, soccer is no different. So I have no problem with, I don't want it to cross a line where it's obviously, dirty play, but I have no problem
there
with...
again though, Jeremy, when Mourinho was there, he crossed that line and he dragged his team with him and he said, you know what, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that was the year that they got La Liga and they got, there was a tremendous, the last time before
I want to read this comment here. Ryan Moran saying, Gabby, it's my birthday and I'd love to hear it from the great Ray.
Happy birthday, who? Ryan?
Ryan Moran.
Ryan Moran, you're the man. Well done. Happy birthday, Ryan.
Phil Levrier saying, aren't you jet lagged, Gabby? I'm a little bit jet lagged, but Ray makes that go away real quickly with all his energy.
And so Cafecito.
Yes.
And Cafecito does that.
Cafecito.
Okay, so Real Madrid on Tuesday facing Ajax in the Champions League, 2-1. How is all the pressure considering what's happened in the last week? Like, if you're Ajax, are you coming in light as a feather because you know that the stones are on Real Madrid?
Absolutely, and that crowd is primed. Bale will, in all likelihood, start again. So that's going to be real interesting because this is their tournament. 3-time champions, of course, but they're going to be faced. They've lost 3 of the last 4, Real Madrid, and have not looked impressive.
No.
And yet, Ajax, since they've been beaten by Barcelona in Amsterdam, they have won 3 games, one after the other, and been impressive.
Yes.
So, and they've been scoring goals like for fun. I know it's different in the Eredivisie, but this is a team, you saw it in the first half, that Ajax team should have been at least 1 or 2 goals ahead. Real Madrid were really up against a fiery team.
Real have the 2-1 lead, so
I think they'll get by.
Yeah.
I think I cannot see, but this Ajax team could score and make it interesting.
And this Ajax team is very well rested because their game over the weekend was cancelled because the Eredivisie gave them more rest
and
time.
No Ramos.
So correct, and no Sergio Ramos, so which means Nacho will come in.
Right.
So it's, I don't know, it's going to be an interesting one.
Okay, so La Liga now, by the looks of it, is Barcelona's to lose. 7-point lead on Atletico Madrid, and then, as we mentioned, a dozen points on Real Madrid. So, I mean, Barcelona really in the catbird seat now. They can basically, they can do what they need to do in La Liga, but they can also really focus on other competitions as well as they chase that treble.
But, for sure, Gary, but I'm not sure that it's going to be that easy against Lyon, Jeremy. I don't think it's going to be that easy.
No, Lyon played them fantastic.
It's football, man, and I tell you, Barcelona's been a little bit under the weather. Messi hasn't been the inspirational man. I'm trying to make a case for Lyon because when you saw how many chances Barcelona had in France, they should be coming back with at least a goal, road goal, but they didn't. So if Lyon gets one, the balloon may go up. I don't think they will.
Okay, before we move along, let's get some comments here.
Omar de Oliveira Amado, did you stop over to Lisbon to watch your Sporting? I did not. But maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Jesse Gallen saying the league is by no means set. Atleti are the worst team to have breathing down your back. I hope Barca take the league and even take another treble. It's true, Atleti having a good season, but I don't know if they'll catch up.
Great season, Champions League as well.
Yep.
Let's see what else is going on here. Kelty Tipos, even when Messi isn't as threatening, Ramos still targets him with bad intentions. It's part of the game we love. We love that drama. Ledwin Ramirez.
I love the way Ramos does it as well. You know, he did it with Salah, and it did it with Messi. When you saw the elbow, it was like, did he really mean it? You know, was it that blatant?
He makes you question it. Yeah,
he's so good, man.
He is. He really, really is.
Such a devil.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
In my opinion, Real should go to young guys and see what happens. Federico.
How old's Vinicius?
The kids
How old's Reguilon?
Yeah.
21.
How old's Odriozola? They're going to the young ones. It ain't them that's letting the team down. It's the more established stars. Benzema has gone off the ball just a little bit, but he's still playing well, I think, you know, and he's
had a great season.
He really has. Scoring goals. I think he's got like, what, 16, 17 goals?
He stepped out of Cristiano's shadow, which is what he wanted to do. He wanted to step out of Cristiano's shadow, and Cristiano left, and now he's done that, and he said last week that was, he knows now that pressure is on him, and he's willing to embrace that, whereas Gareth Bale is a guy that you also wanted to step out of the shadows.
It's not using Gareth Bale as a piñata here. I'm not doing that, but he is a player that has the capacity to inspire. We just haven't seen it. He's not, you know, there's no attraction to him. There's no sort of impressive consistency in his game. And it's his demeanour. You see him, it doesn't look like he's part of the happy ship.
No.
You know, he doesn't want players touching him after he scores the goal. So there's all that question. This is a strange set of circumstances. And now all the chips going to be pushed into the middle of the table for Real Madrid because they've got to get to the final of the Champions League.
Before we move along, just want to mention Leganés and Levante wrapping up match day 26. That's coming up this afternoon here on beIN Sports, about 10 to 3 Eastern time. We'll have that game for you. I think I'm hosting that game, so I'll be on that. I'll be a part of that broadcast.
Excuse me, Jeremy. One of the interesting things that gentleman saying, you know, play the kids. I mean, you fans are something else, you know, because you're saying just play the kids and, you know, let them learn and experience. First of all, it's Real Madrid. So what if they played the youngsters for next season? Now that the league has gone, do you really think that watching Real Madrid with a big portion of the team made up by the Castilla players, that is going to appease that White House?
God, no.
I just can't see it.
It'd be the worst.
This is the difficult part of it for Solari. All the youngsters that he had at the Castilla, they've been the best players for Real Madrid. So the gentleman's point is right, but there's not enough of them. And it's the likes of Toni Kroos, Gareth Bale, Casemiro, Nacho, these Courtois, these people that are just haven't achieved the highest note for Real Madrid, because that bar, you got to remember, is very high.
And that is worrying for the culture of the club.
Right.
Wow.
That is so concerning. For
sure.
Because the culture of that club has been so high. The standard has been so high, and to see the way that they are this season, it really, if you're a Madridista, you have to be concerned about the culture of this club.
Victor Sanchez Del Amo touched on exactly that. So now there's kind of a shift in power because we've played 242 Clásicos. Barcelona now lead that all-time record, and I asked him, what has caused this shift in power? And he said it's club culture. Barcelona have always kept with their club culture. They play a certain way. The managers they bring in play that certain way. Everyone's on the same ship going in the same direction.
Yep.
And for Real Madrid, he says that the players just have too much power.
Yep.
And when the players want to play and they want to inspire, everything's going fantastic.
That's modern football.
But when they don't, then you have this situation right now.
And we've got to remember as well that this was very similar last year, and the success of the Champions League has really papered over so much of it. They've got to do it again, because that's all that is left now. And if that doesn't happen, that may be the point where the crowd really get the white hankies out towards Florentino Perez and say, listen, something's got to fundamentally change.
Okay, let's move along to action from the Premier League this weekend. There's a new leader at the top of the table. Manchester City have a 1-point lead over Liverpool after Liverpool drew goalless in the Merseyside derby. I had a coffee on Sunday mornings with Tim Stannard, and Tim Stannard said to me, he says, okay, I'm going to go home now and watch Liverpool and Everton draw goalless, which is exactly what they did. And then Manchester City sneaking past Bournemouth 1-0, but City had 22 shots in that game. Bournemouth didn't have a shot on goal in that game, and it was 1-0. So you talk about a goalkeeper earning his stripes. He certainly did. The Bournemouth keeper certainly did in that one. So Liverpool now down a point in the Premier League. Is this the beginning of the end, or do you see this going to be a battle right to the finish?
The question has been coming up now between these two great clubs, let's just say that. Not just the clubs, but the type of football they're playing. Yep. They are a danger in European Champions League as well. They've faltered a little bit, but it seems that Liverpool, and the accusation against them is that they're getting a little nervous. You know, that they are, but I'm not so sure that they are, Jeremy. I still believe that this Liverpool side could win the league, despite now dropping behind. The psychological warfare that's going on between Klopp and Guardiola is pretty amazing. But it comes down to the squads, and when you look at that, that's where Manchester City seem to have an edge over Liverpool. And yet, when we look at there's going to be pockets that's going to be determining this great race for the EPL this year. And for me, Liverpool play against in these the same 3 weeks, they
Yep.
play against Tottenham Hotspur,
Yep.
Southampton, and Chelsea. That's tough. That's tough. Manchester City have got Crystal Palace away, Spurs, and Man United, plus the Champions League and the FA Cup.
Right.
So on that level alone, I think that may favour Liverpool. They've got all the big boys out of the way. So we'll see how it
I was
goes.
looking at the schedule, the final schedule run for both teams.
okay.
Liverpool play 6 teams in the lower half. They play each of the bottom 5. So that's, you'd think, is going to be
Liverpool,
points
okay.
for Liverpool. City also play 6 in the lower half. They play 3 of the bottom 5, but they also play 2 teams in the top 5. So Manchester City have the more difficult schedule run-in, plus,
Right.
as you mentioned,
Yeah.
the Champions League, the FA Cup. So, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a much harder run for Manchester City. And I think if there's a team that could come apart, as talented as they are, I think it's City. I don't think it's Liverpool. I
Yeah.
think it's City that would come apart.
It's really debatable, because you look at then you look at the Champions League, where both clubs are in. Now, what happens if they keep advancing there?
Right.
How much of a distraction
yeah.
of that is going to be? All these components are Rubik's Cube that we don't know how they are going to be rested, how
Yeah.
they're going to be rotated. Do they start focusing on if they get the look of the draw, whichever club comes out and they've got a favourable draw, either Manchester City or Liverpool, are they going to say, hey, you know what? We want the EPL crown, but the Champions League, that's where we're going to be saving our best players and our best performances.
I think it's going to have to be City in that kind of an instance. Liverpool have had
Because of the
Champions
depth.
League glory, but I also think that
Right.
City, because they haven't experienced Champions League glory, I think for
And
them it's more important.
Absolutely, and what they have been built
Yes.
for
Yes.
is this incredible project. at
And
City.
Liverpool fans have told us in the past that they prefer to win the Premier League over the Champions League this season.
Which is, I mean, the Champions League is a gold mine. It's
Yeah.
like winning the lottery if
But-
you win the Champions League.
But you're not there every day. You know, like if you're a
right.
Liverpool person.
And they haven't won the league
Ever,
in a long time.
Well, no,
so.
I mean, since Sir Alex Ferguson has been manager of Manchester United, they have not won because Ferguson said, I'm going to knock them off their perch, and that's exactly what Ferguson
He did. Emmanuel Lopez Mendoza saying Liverpool is choking just like the Rams in the Super Bowl. A little bit of a football connection.
That's been everybody's take on it, because
I don't
of
think they're
these-
joking.
Me
You know,
neither.
against
There's still so
Everton
much
as
to
well.
play.
That was going to be a tough game.
It's a derby game. Anything in a derby game. It goes out the window.
But that's what wins championships as well.
No, I don't
It
disagree with
really
that. You
is.
have to win the games
Big
that
time.
you have to win.
Yeah, but Manchester City, they've dropped points against lesser oppositions.
Exactly.
So we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth. We
Football.
don't know.
Bloody
you
hell.
don't know. That's why we
Right?
watch the
You
damn
know,
game.
Ray.
Football,
You know, Ray.
bloody hell. Yeah.
If anyone knows,
Me
that's
cat
right.
knows. Me cat picked the winner of the Barcelona Real Madrid game. So there you go. Flipping cats know more about the game than
There
us.
we go. Yeah. Okay.
Meow.
Mike, are we done?
Yeah.
You want us to
We're
wrap
all
it up?
wrapping it up.
Yeah.
What time
Usually
is
about-
Levante legging us?
It's 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Well, 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time is when we hit the airwaves to get you ready for that one. And then, of course, the extra is tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by the locker room. Ray, Vieri, Rongan, Gary,
Yep.
they're all going to break down what happened in the Classico this coming weekend
And
and look
And
ahead
Kay.
to what's coming up this week.
Queen.
And Kay, that's right, Kay's back. And look ahead to what's coming up this week in the Champions League. And, of course, the Copa Libertadores group stage starting on Tuesday night here on beIN Sports. We are all very excited about that tournament.
Boca
And,
River. Back on Tuesday, Wednesday, and I've got both games. Nurse!
Yeah, exactly. So thanks for joining us, guys. Just remember, if you're not getting beIN Sports on your cable provider, feel free to call your cable provider and tell them you want beIN Sports back, especially if you're still being charged for it. Remember that. And of course, there's always Fubo and Sling. So thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you back here on Sports Burst on Tuesday.